So, a few reasons. One is that to help educate you guys. All right, you guys have made a commitment, a decision to come. You've identified that we have the eye issues, and you're getting treatment. But around that, maybe you've read some stuff on the website, you've watched a couple videos, and you're kind of in the education learning process, trying to gather information, understand what we're doing here. So that's one part of it. The second part is to help you understand about your eye disease a little bit. A lot of you guys you get your diagnosis and you're left in the dark, no pun intended, about what's going on. Like it's genetic, or you're old, or you're not really given much information. So we want to help fill some of those gaps and connect the dots for you guys, help understand what's going on. Also talk about the role of stress and how that can impact vision and thought process and mindset and the importance of that. How acupuncture works and how the treatment works from that perspective. And also give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. You know what I mean? This is a lot of stuff. You guys are you've gone from there's nothing that I can do for my eye condition to oh my God, there's something I can do. So I've put this stuff together over 20 years and been working very intensively on this over the last 20 years. You guys aren't expected to digest and have spontaneous knowledge and understanding. It's going to take some time. So we want you guys to review the content, review the books, the information in the books that we gave you, ask questions, email me, watch the videos we have online. The websites have a lot of content. So again, while you guys are in this education or learning process, you're going to want to encourage you to ask questions so you can get clear. When you're clear, you understand what's going on, and then you can have clarity and certainty within yourself, and then when other people ask you what's going on, either doctor, friends, or family, you're clear in your head about what we're doing. So I did an interview with a friend of mine about a month ago, and he quoted me. So one of my quotes during the talk was that conventional medicine tells these people with vision loss that there's no hope. Well, there is. That's my belief system. One belief system says there's no hope. The conventional medical mindset and that paradigm says there's nothing. And that's a half-truth. That means in conventional medicine there is no drug, there is no surgery that's currently available for a lot of these conditions. But there is a universe that exists beyond that perspective. So that's what we want to help educate people to understand, that although that is a truth, it's not the truth. So this is how we're going to learn more about that. So the systems that I've developed came about when I graduated acupuncture school in the 90s. All right, I went to undergrad in upstate New York. I went to acupuncture school in San Diego. Then I went to China, studied there for a while, studied in Europe for a while, combing the world looking for the best eye treatment acupuncture methods. So, I'm not an ophthalmologist, didn't go to med school, didn't go that route, went the natural alternative, complementary medicine, integrated medicine, whatever you guys want to call it, went that route. Why? Because I felt, and it was my perception at that point in time when I made this conscious decision to go into this area of medicine, that this area may have answers and solutions and ideas based on 4,000 plus years of history that conventional medicine may not have. So my mindset was, there's a lot of really good doctors out there. There's not enough really good acupuncturists and holistic practitioners out there. So it was a calling. I started reading, and philosophically and from a medical perspective, it made sense to me. I've been practicing for over 21 years, and specifically with the eyes, maybe about 19 to 20 years intensively. It's based on my clinical research and observation. So what does that mean? That means I'm not just giving you guys theory. I'm not telling you what I think. I didn't read a book. I didn't read somebody else's book on how to treat eyes. I didn't read a book on ophthalmology. I'm not just parroting stuff that I hear. What I'm giving you guys is my real live experience, having treated over 10,000 eye patients from over 50 countries around the world over the last 20 years. Done the research with Johns Hopkins and Nova Southeast, written 5 books. I've talked to patients. People, how do you know so much about RP? How do you know so much about what's going on in my head, my fears, my anxieties, my concerns, the questions I'm at? Because I talk to patients. I talk to my patients. I'm interested. I want to know what's going on with you guys. I want to know not only, pathologically what's going on and how these eye conditions came about, but I want to know what your experience is with that. Objectively and subjectively. What are you noticing, in terms of quantifying your vision and how rapid, and what are the other factors going on? How do you feel about it? And what kind of stress is that causing you? So we're going to go through a lot of that stuff today too. So the systems that we use, the treatment methods, combine traditional Chinese medicine, which is acupuncture and Chinese herbs primarily, some diet, nutrition, Qigong exercises. Those are in my book, Healing Your Eyes with Chinese Medicine, which you guys all should have a copy of. If you don't, get one. We have a free copy for you guys. And naturopathic medicine. So obviously Chinese medicine came out of East Asia over 4,000 years ago, and naturopathic medicine came more out of Europe, primarily Germany, Austria, Switzerland, kind of like in the 1800s, early 1900s, more like home remedies, folk remedies, stuff like that, that started to move in the direction of vitamins, minerals, supplements, functional medicine, things like that. So with our treatment systems, we're incorporating unique styles of acupuncture. What does that mean? So Selma and I were just having a conversation earlier about the different forms of acupuncture. So over the past 4,000 years, there's been so many different styles of acupuncture. So if you think of acupuncture as kind of like the trunk of the tree, you have all these branches that have been developed over the last 4,000 or whatever years that acupuncture's been around. Now, they're all great. All the systems work. They all get results with different conditions. What I was looking for is for which systems and which acupuncture points and acupuncture techniques get the best results for my eye patients or with eye conditions. That was my objective. Okay, I really wanted to see which, so it was a lot of trial and error. It was about 10 years actually, 10 years of testing. This method doesn't work. It's a great system, it just didn't get the results for vision problems. So discarded it. Tried this system, tried these points that were suggested to me. Great. Didn't see much of a measurable outcome in terms of real metrics, real results. Are they seeing better or are they not? And does the patient's feedback, are you guys guiding me and telling me you think that it's worked? So those are the measurements I use. We use our vision testing, but I also get feedback from patients. So both of those will give me a result. So it's either a positive result or we don't get a positive result, meaning there's no vision improvement. So that was a distillation process over the last 10 years to come up with which acupuncture systems that get the best results, and that's where we're primarily it's constantly evolving, so we've not kind of set the whole thing in stone, although we do have a really, really good system now. I'm very, very confident. I've seen the results. They're research proven, so they work. But we're always looking to see what else we can do to grow and expand and evolve it, ultimately just to get the best results for patients, short-term and long-term. So, simply stated, our goal is to help improve vision short-term, help you guys get back, if possible, whatever vision we can. And then once we've recovered whatever vision we can cover, usually within about a year period, then we want to help you keep what you got. And that's kind of like the marathon, the long term there. So that's our objective. When we first start with this conversation dealing with vision loss, whether it's progressive, whether it's traumatic, whether it was an incident, maybe a drug toxicity, a surgery, something, whatever happened, it was either an acute or a progressive. And sometimes, even though it's been progressive, we haven't noticed it. And it becomes acute when you go to your doctor and they tell you you have this eye disease, and it's like, there's an acute stress that goes on that we're going to talk about. But for now, we want to just look at the facts. All right, let's take the emotion aside and just kind of look at what we're dealing with. So you've recently been diagnosed, or not so recently, you've been diagnosed with an eye condition that is affecting your vision. Fact. Okay? You may have been told that there are limited or no treatment options for your vision. Fact. You may or may not have believed your eye doctor when they told you that. You may or may not have wanted to believe what he or she said when they gave you that information. Okay, that's a fact too. Now, you've considered the possibility that there may be something beyond conventional medicine that might help your vision, which is why you're here. Right? You guys questioned the statement and the premise that nothing can be done. So that's the conversation that we're moving into. Okay, now we start saying, still facts, the impact of progressive or acute vision loss can have an impact on your life. Fact, right? It can impact your job and your earning potential, which, is a stress. All these things induce stress. It can impact your marriage, your relationships, right? It can be depressing, anxious, cause a whole host of things. There could be communication issues with it. You can have issues around the eye condition that are spoken or unspoken. So, we need to identify that these conditions can definitely play into our relationships. We need to be aware of that. It can impact our connection to other people. First, because we're stressed out or we're dealing with the stress around that. And when we're stressed out, we don't really feel like hanging out with people or talking to people, right? Some people do. Some people kind of, go the other way and kind of like just vent or chew your ear off. But the majority of people will tend to go inward, if it's a big issue like this. And the other thing with vision is it progresses. We lose our vision. And our vision is one of the primary ways that we connect with people. Right? You check their facial expression, you recognize them. Do I know you? Yes or no. You're familiar. So your ability to connect with people, see if they're looking into your eyes, are they looking around when they're talking to you, are they anxious? We're judging, we're evaluating, we're assessing the genuine. Are they smiling when they're talking to you? Like, yeah, I'm having a great day. Things are awesome. You can hear that, but you look in their face, it's not really, it's inconsistent with what they're saying. So that ability to connect with people, may start to get impacted, and that's kind of upsetting a little bit as well. With kids, husband, wives, stuff like that. Impact on your freedom and independence. People freak out about that. Can I drive? Can I go by myself? Can I do things by myself without having to bother anybody else? Impact on your daily productivity. Say that 5 times. How are you producing during the day? Getting stuff done. Everybody's got a daily grind. Some more, some less. But everybody's busy doing something, right? Even if you're retired on a $100 million yacht, out in the Caribbean, you're still doing something. You still have a daily grind. So your productivity. In your mind, you're not getting as much done as you maybe used to be getting done, and that can be frustrating for people. Impact in doing activities or things that you enjoy or you used to enjoy. Your hobbies, your interests, movies, reading, going out. For some dim-lit places or an issue, going out to dinner, going to movies, stuff like that. Impact on your physical speed, how you're moving, right? When the vision starts to go, your confidence in how you move decreases. So you're not comfortable with the speed at which you do things, so you need more time and you need more space. And that's a shift that sometimes can be frustrating for some people, especially if it's relatively abrupt. Impact on your self-confidence. And then the bottom, right, just how we feel about ourselves. And we're going to work on that a little bit. And then at the bottom is cut off here. Your health and exercise, right? Putting aside that you're depressed and you're kind of like, or aggravated, you don't feel like working out because nobody likes to work out when you're not really feeling so well. Most people don't like to work out anyway. But usually when you're not feeling so hot, it's even more of a struggle to get up and do something. And also there's concerns, right? Like you're not going to hop on a treadmill, if you're having a hard time seeing. So we have to adjust the exercise and fitness routines for people. We have to consider things like a stationary bike or a rowing machine or something that's going to be more stable with bands or weights or stuff like that. Yoga stretching, things that are not going to require visual awareness and balance and stuff like that. So then we move from the facts of what's going on to how do we feel about it. It's important to understand both and distinguish between the both. The first one is just a list of what's going on, right? We need to audit the situation and take an inventory of what's going on, just so we're clear about the situation. Then we move into feelings. How do we feel about this? All right? Am I upset? Am I depressed? Am I pissed off at everybody? Am I anxious? Do I feel a sense of isolation? That's the biggest, by the way. The reason I put that number one is because everybody has this initial sense of isolation. Why? Because you're told that you got some eye condition, there's nothing that can be done about it, don't even look or ask or anything for any help, because there's nothing. So maybe you go online, try to find a support group, try Google the condition or something like that. Maybe nobody in your family has it. So there's this, after the shock sets in of having the diagnosis or facing the issue, then this sense of loneliness and isolation sets in. That I'm alone. I'm alone in this. Like, that's it. And that's really hard, because that's not true either. That's an emotion. We're going to talk about why that's not true. But it's true for people who believe that they are alone, because at that point in time they're alone. And that's one of the biggest barriers we have to break, and that's one of the things we break. By any patients who come here, you guys see there's a lot of other people who are in a similar situation. Maybe they have the same eye condition. Maybe they're even from the same area that you live in. Or maybe they just don't. Maybe they're the same age, but you're connecting with people who are going through the same type of thing. That destroys the isolation right there and being alone. So desperation, what do I do? What do I do? If there's nothing for me, what am I going to do? It's this desperate sense of hopelessness and helplessness, despair, anger. I'm angry at God, I'm angry at me, I'm angry at my parents for the genetics, I'm angry because I didn't take care of myself, I'm angry at medicine for not having a solution. You're just angry. Or insecure. You kind of like, what are people going to think about me? You got to get more self-conscious about yourself. Anger, guilt, anger so much, we put it twice. Guilt, if you're kind of like raised in that mentality, feel guilty about what you have. I should be able to produce more. I should be able to take care of my family more. I should be more active in my community. You start blaming yourself because you have this condition for not being able to do more or be more. And that's, we need to work on that too, because there's stuff we can do. Shame. You're ashamed of this, embarrassed that we have this condition. You want to pull everybody out of that as well. You got it. Let's go back to the facts. We want to work out this shame and this guilt and these negative feelings that we have, because they're real. I'm not saying you guys shouldn't have them, but we want to identify which, for us, everybody's going to have one or two of these things that are like, boom, like, yeah, that's me. I'm definitely in guilt, I'm definitely in anger, I'm definitely in isolation. So you want to get real to which emotions are most present for you so that we can start to work through those. Depression, come on. Anxiety about the future, again, what am I going to do? What's going to happen? Like, just freaking out. Like, how am I going to produce? Who's going to take care of me? I have to take care of people. What ifs? Resentment, like you'll have your days where like, it's people walking fast, people doing things faster, people have their, who are having better vision and have like that quote unquote freedom to do what you perceive that you can't. It's a little resentment. Like, why should I have to deal with this? Stuff like that. Humiliation, again, goes back to embarrassment and stuff like that. It's kind of disempowering. It takes that. So think about that. Some of these are going to be real for you. Some of them may not be. But we want to understand the facts of the situation. Then we want to give ourselves permission to feel it. Yeah, I'm pissed. I don't like this. I'm very anxious about what's going to happen in the future. Talk about it. And you don't have to like blurt it out all over, like spew it all over, but you want to talk to your husband, to your wife, to your kids, to somebody who you have a brother or sister, a very good friend, somebody who's going to sit there and listen, who will allow you that space to be anxious or to be insecure or talk about what you're afraid of. You got to get present to that, because that's going to really be the way to get out of that is to go into it, and we'll talk about that in a minute. What all this does is it puts you in this fear of, I don't know what's going to happen to me, and it's scaring the crap out of me. Seriously. Like, I don't know. Like, how do I get out of this? I'm in this hole by myself, in the dark, no lights. What do I do? Nobody's telling me anything. I'm like trying to go on the internet. I'm trying to talk to people if I can. My doctor won't give me information. There's nothing really in the internet. I'm told it's genetic or my age or I had an injury or some other whatever, but that doesn't help because nothing's making it better and I don't have solutions. So how do we get out of this pit? Education, right? We learn. So this is, I don't know anything, right? Unknown means I don't know. So education moves you in the direction of knowing. Education is the light in the dark. It's the guiding light. When we're in the dark and don't understand, there's a lot of cool metaphors with the vision and all this stuff too, in case you're not picking up on it. We're in the dark, literally and figuratively. Like we don't know what's up. We need a guiding light. Guiding light for you guys right now is education. Learning what's possible. Okay, so that's why we're here and what we're going to talk about. So let's start with what actually causes vision to go. Right? That's a pretty important thing to discuss. It's an important conversation to have. So what causes failing vision? We know genetics are an issue, or can be for some people. Right? There's a genetic history of glaucoma, macular degeneration, retinitis pigmentosa, Usher syndrome, Stargardt. It's in the family. You may have gotten that gene and be predisposed to that. Okay? Then there's epigenetic stress factors. Genetic. That's your software that your computer comes with. All right? That's your program. Epigenetics are the external factors that can affect my software. Viruses can get into my computer. I could drop it. It could overheat. I could spill a cup of coffee. All right? There's a lot of things externally and internally that can disrupt my software or my programming. So in real life, epigenetic stress factors are anything that could cause stress externally. Pollution, medications, GMOs, pesticides, food additives, the sun, ozone layer, stuff like that, UV rays, blue light, viruses, bacteria, microbial infections. Internally, emotions, excessive emotions. Everybody has emotions. Everybody gets upset, everybody gets depressed, everybody gets happy, everybody gets sad, everybody gets angry, everybody feels different things at any given time. What I'm talking about with emotions that have a serious impact are the emotions that are habitual and that we don't have control over. And most people will tend to have some dominant emotion. Some people are just worriers, worry about everything. Some people are just angry all the time. Like their first go-to emotion is angry and short temper. Other people, everything just gets overwhelming and depressing. Like I don't want to deal with the, goodbye. Just evasive. Some grief. So people just cry at anything. So we want to identify if there's a specific emotion, like we talked about earlier, the feelings that are just keep knocking at the door and they just keep showing up no matter what happens, right? That intense surge of emotions, we're going to talk about how that changes the body chemistry and the brain activity and actually can cause gene signaling. So we want to identify that and start to use things like meditation or relaxation or go to church or therapy or something to help process those emotions and deal with the underlying causes. Trauma, injury, or illness can be a causative factor, right? God forbid, car accident, detached retina, get something, stuck in my eye. Sometimes I've had patients who've had surgeries and they've accidentally snipped the optic nerve or something like that. So illness too, things like meningitis or Lyme or some diseases can have a side effect that can affect your vision. Drugs and medications, right? You guys watch the drug commercials, how many of them? If you see blindness or blurry vision or double vision, call your doctor. Like almost every medication, there's an indication for a potential vision problem. And some more serious, like toxoplasmosis, you can have, which can have a serious effect on the vision. Things like steroids, right? Excessive use of steroids can jack up the eye pressure, give you glaucoma. And the thing with glaucoma is you don't know what's happening. There are the nerve endings inside the retina, sensory nerves, that are letting us know that the pressure is increasing. So the pressure can be increasing. We don't know. Overnight, wake up and the vision's gone. So that's why we monitor eye pressure regularly, and we especially when we're using medication like cortisone and steroids. Metabolic imbalances like diabetes, right? Diabetes is a really big common health issue these days. One of the effects or negative effects of diabetes is that it can destroy the blood vessels or the vasculature in the eyes and cause bleeding and progressive vision loss. It's called diabetic retinopathy. Apoptosis or programmed cell death, that's kind of a newer, trendy thing that a lot of the doctors are looking at. Mitochondrial dysfunction, which is low ATP. If you guys remember from high school or junior high school biology class or cell biology, we have the cells, and within the cells we have the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the powerhouse that makes or manufactures energy for us to live. So we want to make sure that that's in fact what happens is that structure weakens within the cells and then within the local surrounding tissues. And the output of energy, which in Chinese medicine we call qi, decreases. And with decreased metabolic cellular activity, we have slower respiration, less use of oxygen, less use of food. It's like it gets sick. Doesn't breathe that well, doesn't eat that much, and the toxins start to build up. Start to accumulate toxins and fluids, and you don't have that flow. So it becomes sick. The cells become sick and they start to degenerate. Okay, so there's two strategies. We know we have our strategy, and let's first look at the conventional medical strategy. So in conventional medicine, the eye is diagnosed as its own isolated organ pathology. What does that mean? They're just looking at your eyes. In most cases, we're not taking a systemic evaluation of your body. We're not looking at blood work. We're not doing a battery of tests to see what's going on, why you have macular degeneration or glaucoma. It's like, okay, well, you have this. And we'll have heart stuff. Okay, we'll let your cardiologist deal with that. We'll have diabetes. Okay, well, your endocrinologist can deal with that. It's very fragmented. So the decline of vision is said to be a natural process. Imagine that. That can either stabilize or get worse. Right? You go back to our doctor every year. Why? They want to tell you you've either stabilized or gotten worse. Just a pleasure to go for most of my patients. But that's what's going on. So then we have our treatment. Our conventional approaches. So for refractive issues, we need glasses and contacts. Sometimes there's like LASIK surgery. We have medications. Okay? So if you have an eye infection, take an antibiotic. If there's a lot of inflammation, maybe a steroid. If we have eye pressure, we're going to take eye drops. If there's dryness in the eyes, they can use things like Restasis or saline solution. Surgical procedures, right? Remove the cataracts, LASIK surgery for glaucoma to reduce the pressure. God forbid there's a retinal detachment. We need to go to get surgery. They're either going to put like a gas bubble or oil in there to help it hold it in place. That's common. And we need that, right? You get a retinal detachment, you got to go in and get it put back together. Cataract surgery is great. So vague understanding, that's a problem too, if any. Like, I'm sorry, we really don't understand, what's going on. We don't really have any treatment, or or any any surgery for what's going on, or wait and see what happens. Stem cells in the works, gene therapy is in the works, the bionic eye or the bionic retina, or retinal transplantation, that's all in the works. Don't call us, we'll call you. So the problem, therefore, is a poor understanding of your eye condition. All right? So where you guys hit the wall, what you guys come away with, or what my patients have communicated to me, is not what I said. After talking to thousands and thousands of patients who've gone through this process, the consensus is my doctor has a very poor understanding of what's going on. Are they going to tell them that to their face? Of course not. But it's like, oh man, what caused it? Genetics, old age. Well, I guess I can live with that because it's the only answer you're giving me, but that doesn't sound clear in terms of an understanding. And there's no effective treatment to restore or preserve your vision. So those two things don't sit well with most people. I don't understand what's going on with your vision, and I don't really have a treatment for you. And if I do, maybe it's eye drops, maybe it's a surgery to keep your pressure down, but maybe there's some experimental stuff that's coming down the pipe, but we don't really have anything. That doesn't leave most people feeling warm and fuzzy inside. So, but it's your doctor, you kind of got to accept it, but now here's what we want to do. This is where the shift happens. So you kind of leave that, and you're going along your weeks, your days, your years dealing with this eye condition, and we're here. All right? There's no plan. We're on the no plan, the wait and see plan. Right? Most people. I'm told by my doctor there's nothing I can do, therefore there's nothing I can do. Some people resign, and they're okay with that. And that's great. If you resign to the fact that I want to wait for stem cell or gene therapy or medication or surgery, or I'm just okay with the progressive loss of my vision. Some people are fine with that. And I'm fine if you're fine. Like seriously. Like if you're okay with that, I love it. Awesome. Good for you. But for the majority of people are going to experience fear from the uncertainty. Again, all that stuff we talked about. All the feelings around the facts that keep coming up. The fears about the future. What's going to happen to me? How am I going to function? Despair. Is anybody going to like me? Is my spouse going to leave me because my vision is my family going to abandon me because I'm a burden on them? If I haven't gotten married and I'm younger, am I going to have a harder time finding somebody or getting in a relationship because of this? So I'm like, keep it in a secret. You're in impossible. There's nothing to do. So that's impossible, right? There's no treatment. Treatment is impossible. That's what you're told. And you're generally at the mercy of researchers. There's nothing we can do. Wait and see. Researchers are working on it. It's in the works. We'll get back to you. How long? Don't know. 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? We're not sure. So that's here in the pit with no direction. All right? Left there, we usually spiral down into what we call the void. It's the continuing spiral of existing in the unknown, where we have occasional optimistic days. Maybe we get a research report from the Foundation Fighting Blindness that says there may be some advancement in stem cell or something like that. Or you may just have a good day, or you may just have read like a Wayne Dyer book and you're just really optimistic or something like that. Or just, come from a really good, a church sermon or something like that, or read or heard something inspiring. Or your vision just hasn't gotten so bad yet. Maybe it's just not really affecting you and you're kind of out of sight, out of mind, you're not really paying attention to it. But once the symptoms start to show up, or progress, that's when we start into this downward spiral and hang out in the dark, in the void. I don't know. Things are getting worse, things are getting darker. I'm not talking about it, but I'm getting scared. I'm getting nervous. I'm getting scared. I don't have anybody to talk to. I'm alone. This sucks. So that's not where we want to be. There's no solutions in the void. There's chaos. There's fear. There's loneliness. There's isolation. I don't want to be there. Right? There's nothing to be done. Unless you choose to. If that's your choice, that's fine. The other place is to go from here to there. there is somewhere. The void is nowhere. So there, go from here to there is possibility of a solution. Possibility of managing your situation. There's power. There's hope there. There's possibility. There's where you now become your own researcher. I'm not waiting for the researchers. I'm the researcher. You know? Heck with these guys. Leave the bureaucracy of the drug companies and all that stuff and the FDA approval. You guys deal with that. While you guys are taking care of that, I'm getting on board and I'm getting in the driver's seat now and I'm getting on with this to figure it out for myself. Right? And you don't have to go there. But if you are looking for something, this is not something. Waiting and hoping is not something. A plan, a solution, the power, the hope, the possibility, and doing your own research and taking positive action, that is there. Okay? So what does it mean to go from here to there? It means you got to move, right? So we're bringing you in now. You've gotten the information, you know, and I'm going back. This is nothing new. I'm just clarifying what you guys have done, all right? You got information here. You guys were all here. I got the information. I'm learning. I'm gathering information. Does this make sense? Is it baloney? Is this bogus? Is this, you know, kind of airy-fairy stuff? Is there any base to this that makes any sense at all? Is it really just this needle thing? How the heck can you put needles in somebody's hands and feet and improve their vision? Like, you got to be kidding me. Without understanding, that's a really good argument. So when you're here, you know I want to go there. All right, that's the first thing. You have to have a desire to move, or at least to consider the possibility of moving. Then you have to understand that I'm here, this is a point A, and what we just talked about. What is here? Here's the facts and feelings that we talked about. That's where am I? This is what's going on. This is how I feel about it. Now it's, okay, well, I get it. I just don't want to be here. So there, that's where I want to go. So we identify where it is we want to go. In this case for you guys, it was taking some action to consider the possibility it's going to help your vision. Or do something to at least improve it, manage it, something. So I want to go there. I want to go there in the direction of something that's going to help me with my vision. Okay? I don't really know what that is yet. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I want to go in that direction. So the next thing is the why. All right? If you don't have a why, you're not going to show up here or anywhere else. Like, why? Seriously. And you guys may not be aware of this, but what are your reasons for wanting your vision to improve? Right? That's big. You may not be aware of that. That is the single driving force that will move your rear end from here to there. You will not move without, we call it why or a purpose. It's like, I'm moving because for my kids, for my spouse, because I love my work and I want to keep that going. I just love outdoor activities. Or I'm just sick and tired of feeling hopeless and powerless, and that's not working for me. So whatever your reason is, try to think about that. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it may not come quick, but knowing what your why is and what your purpose for doing what you're doing and making that jump or taking that leap is that's going to be your, when you're having a bad day and you don't want to take your herbs, and you don't want to do supplements, and you don't want to exercise, and you don't want to do all the things that you're supposed to, you're going to go back to your why. Why am I doing this? Yeah, because I want to work another 10 years, you know, and I want to produce because I love what I do. It's a passion, or I just want to see my kids' faces, or I want to see my like whatever it is for you. I want to see my grandkids' face. I want to continue to paint. I want to travel. I want independence. Whatever your why is, get clear about inspiration is, wow, I've been hearing all my life that there's nothing available for my eye condition, or however long you've been hearing it. Now, I've been inspired because I've either heard something that may have a possibility, or I heard somebody else who had a benefit. All right? That's inspiration. I'm inspired to do something. You may have heard somebody else who is down and out and feeling horrible about their vision, or not even a vision. Somebody else is just in a situation where they're just, you know, in a rocky situation, where there's down and out, taking a beating, then they come back, and they, they're victorious. So you may be, inspired. You don't know where the inspiration comes from, but you draw on that, and then your purpose. So whatever's inspiring you or inspired you or continues to inspire you, plus your clarity on your why, will give you the courage to do what you got to do, to take action. All right? So the clarity of where you're going, plus that courage, which comes from your inspiration and purpose, is going to give you certainty. And when you're clear and certain, boom, you're gone. Now we have the program. What's the structure? So you got here from there, and now we're creating structure. We're giving you a blueprint, a roadmap, and a plan. So the plan is 1 or 2 weeks of treatment where we do 10 sessions to see how well you're responding. Some advanced cases will give it 2 weeks. Pre and post testing is critical. Why? Because we need a metric. I love to hear everybody's feedback. Sometimes that's not enough. Why? Because you may not be aware of it. Why? Because either A, your vision's not that bad. If my visual fields, say I have a visual field issue, and my visual fields go from like 50 degrees to 65 degrees, and I gain 15 degrees improvement in my mid or far visual fields, I'm not going to notice that. It's just not going to be that noticeable to me. So I need to test that. Also, sometimes it takes the brain a while to catch up, okay? Your brain's been seeing a certain way for X amount of time. Our brains have this thing called plasticity. It means it can mold, it can lay down new nerve tracks, right? The nerve tracks in the brain bundle together, wire together, and then they fire together, okay? So what we want to do is we want to get the brain or the visual system to pick up on that. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the eyes will start to see better. The eyes are just antennas. They're big satellite dishes that pick up light. That's all they do. The brain sees, the eyes pick up the photon, light energy, the light impulses, and convert them, send them from the eye, the optic nerve, back to the brain for processing to make sense. So our brain sees. So sometimes that pattern or that message or that neurotract is so deeply ingrained and so wedged that it's going to take time to change. All right? Maybe somebody's tired, they got other health stuff going on. So some people, or we call late bloomers, that means about 5% of people, when they go home, that's when they start to notice it. I'll get like an email in, they're like, well, I'm not really sure I'm seeing better. Or they'll read the eye chart, and they'll do 3 or 4 lines better reading, but they're like, yeah, I see better, but I'm not seeing better. And you see the confusion on them. I'm seeing better, but I'm not seeing it. Maybe I memorized them. You can't memorize what you don't see. So, we're trying to make sense, and it took me a while to understand that. I had to talk to some friends who are neurologists, help me understand that. But the brain is just a little bit slow in catching up to what the eyes are starting to pick up. So what happened is we've charged the eyes are working better, but the brain just hasn't really processed those changes yet. So that will create some confusion with people, whether they think they see better or not seeing better and stuff like that. So we do acupuncture therapy, which includes acupuncture, electroacupuncture, laser acupuncture, microacupuncture, a bunch of different systems on a daily basis for most cases. Is that necessary? No. What's necessary is a minimum of twice a week. That's what I have some local patients do. More intensive treatments, some cases will get a better result, but it also lets you guys know, people want to know as fast as possible, is it working or is it not working? Because we don't want to waste time. I want to know, I don't want to drag people along for 3 months. Well, maybe it's working. I can know in 5 days with 80% of people. Advanced, sometimes I need 2 weeks, or if there's other health issues going on. But we want to check the result. We're going to recommend herbs and supplements. We're going to talk about why. 2 things, they're going to feed your eyes and protect your eyes. Fuel and protection. Home care instructions is going to be individualized. We're going to go over those with you guys individually towards the end. Maintenance and follow-up, again, will be individual. We'll talk about that on Friday when we wrap up with each of you guys. But again, that's going to be different for everybody. Different supplements, different exercise, different follow-up plans and everything. So that's going to be specific to your case. Now there are 3 phases of care, okay? And you guys are going to get all handouts of this stuff too when you guys leave. So you can take notes if you want, but also know you're going to get this. The first phase is a recharge and recover. That's the first week that you're here to month when you leave. So a month after you leave, the acupuncture, the inertia from the acupuncture is still going to be doing its thing. Your eyes will continue to heal. The first series of treatment, we arouse and recharge the dormant nerve cells. All right? It's stimulus. We're trying to wake them up. Some of the cells are sleeping, they're dormant, or they're chaotic. They're not sending clear, cohesive, coherent signals to the brain in an organized fashion. So they're either not organized, we want to organize them, or they're sleeping. Okay? Cells are in a comatose state, we're waking them up. Cell dormancy. The second stage is repair and regenerate. So the first year, 8 to 15 months, is about what it takes for a sick or damaged cell to regenerate and repair. So from when we start treatment, we give it approximately a year. After about a year, whatever you've recovered is probably what you're going to max out at in terms of your recovery from what we can offer with acupuncture and Chinese medicine and all this stuff. And that's general. But I'd say 75 to 80% of cases on average, that's true. But there's some, playroom and stuff like that around that. Then we move to after the year is up, we shift to the third phase. Okay? Or some people have really good vision. They're very, very early stage. Number 2 we don't have because we shift right to preservation because there's not a lot of damage. We catch somebody early stage. So this is your long-term maintenance programs, your intensives, your periodic treatments. It's necessary to preserve your vision. Why? Because you have a neurodegenerative process going on in which the cells are starting to break down for various reasons. Okay? Just like you get your oil changed, you got to get your eyes tuned up. Just like you go to the dentist to get your teeth cleaned, you have to get your maintenance. It's just, I wish it weren't. I wish I had like a one-shot deal. People came in, it was like a surgery or something that helped and fixed and corrected the whole thing, and great, see ya, God bless. That's not the case. Right now where we're at, the best we have is this, and it requires maintenance. Maintenance will vary. Some people need maintenance every month or 2. Some people need maintenance every 2 to 3 years. It depends on how fast or stable your condition is. The more stable, the less treatment. The more you guys do, we're going to talk about that, the less I have to do in terms of treatment. So that too is going to vary from person to person. There's the same, everybody gets the same thing. It's not like that. People want that, but it's not. Everybody compares, ooh, why am I coming back in 6 months? You're coming back in 4 months. You're just different. It's a different situation, and my recommendations are going to reflect your situation. Now let's talk. We talked about the conventional approach, right? Treating the eyes. We talked about the causes of disease. Let's talk now about the holistic approach, right? Because actually we take a holistic approach. And what does that mean? Holistic approach means we deal with the body as a whole, not just individual parts. Yes, you're here to help your vision. That's a number 1 priority. But guess what? You have a body attached to your eyes. It's not a machine. I would love to swap your eyes out just like I swap out your brakes, or change your oil, or swap out your carburetor, or change your tires. Just pop them out, pop them in, send you off. Okay? It's not the case. This is an ecosystem. It's a living organism where all parts are interrelated and different things and factors affect your eyes and other parts of your body. So a lot of these conditions are systemic. Yes, they're showing up in the eyes, but it's a systemic thing. It's a whole body thing that's going on, whether it's infections or autoimmune or toxicity or metabolic. All the things we talked about that are causative factors, those affect the whole body, not just the eyes. So that's the first thing we need to consider, that we're not isolating and localizing this disease process exclusively to the eye. The cool thing about Chinese medicine, too, is that they've been dealing with these things for thousands of years. They're like, Usher's is kind of new, or RP is new. There's documented cases of all these diseases. They have a slightly different name, And they've been treating them for a long, long, long time. So there's understanding that conventional medicine lacks for a lot of these conditions. There's clarity. There's scientifically proven treatments like acupuncture that I did with Johns Hopkins, Nova Southeastern. We're looking at a couple of other universities. They're tailored treatments, not protocols. What does that mean? Everybody doesn't get the same thing. Everybody wants to get the same. It would be easy if it was a mill or just down the line. Everybody gets exactly the same thing. That would make my life really easy. It would be incredibly boring, but it would be easy, and I could hire monkeys. You don't even have to go to school to do that. If it was the same thing, I could just show everybody the same thing, but that's not the case. Chinese med, you guys have all different things going on. Right? If I line up 10 people with macular degeneration, 10 people with retinitis pigmentosa, 10 people with glaucoma, they all have other things going on. Some people have inflammation, some people are on medications, some people have diabetes going on, some people also have cataracts on top. Some people have hypertension, some people are on medication for depression or anxiety. Everybody's got different things going on, so we need to treat your eyes, which is we call the branch, but deal with the underlying factors or the stress factors that are either causing or accelerating the vision loss. Okay? Any risk factors? So for many, the eye condition is the only option, this type of treatment, right? There's no solutions anywhere else. You want to do something, this is your only choice. It's all there is right now. Do your supplements. You go to your eye doctor, you're going to say fish oils, lutein, maybe a couple of vitamin A, a good eye vitamin, Preservision, OcuGuard, one of those, which you can do much better than, by the way. But that is all you're going to get. Seriously. So we got more than that. So how does acupuncture work? You guys know that's our primary treatment, that and supplementation. And we talked about the supplements. We're going to talk a little bit more about them in detail. But again, the supplements will work on feeding the eyes the right nutrients they need to function, and B, neuroprotection and vascular protection. So the acupuncture helps vision. It increases blood flow to the eyes. When we increase blood flow, we increase oxygen, we get more food to the eyes, and we get elimination of toxic accumulation, cellular debris. Okay? So before research was done, it was like, yeah, acupuncture improves circulation to the eyes. Probably. Now we've done research that shows mechanism of action. We've used ocular Doppler, and we've seen actual increase in circulation and blood flow around the eyes. You put a needle in, the blood vessels dilate, you have more increased circulation. We've measured that and quantified it, so that's a truth now. We're also, like we talked about, stimulating the nerve cells. All right? Want to wake them up. Nerve cells want to be stimulated. They want to work. They're firing. That's what nerve cells do. So we want to wake up and stimulate them and call them into action and organize them. We want to charge up the dormant retinal cells. We want to organize the chaotic nerve signals, right, that aren't being sent straight to the visual cortex. We want to regulate the autonomic nervous system. Anybody get tired after your treatment? It's because we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. We have our autonomic nervous system, then we have our sympathetic and our parasympathetic. Our sympathetic is our stress response, our fight or flight. Our parasympathetic is our rest and recovery. We can't heal and be stressed at the same time. We're not wired like that. So our body has to shift to a parasympathetic rest and recovery phase in order for regeneration and healing to happen. So our eyes are not healing when we're doing 10 million things or stressed out or worrying and everything like that. That healing mechanism, when we're stressed out or busy or overworking, shuts off. So you come in for acupuncture. In addition to everything else we're doing, at the core and the base of it, we're switching on the healing response. And for some people, it won't. And how do I know that? I come in, and they're kind of twiddling their thumbs, and, ooh, I thought you forgot about me. And I'm like, you've been here for 6 minutes. Ooh, I have, So again, it's that inability to relax and calm down. If that's an issue, we need to work on that as well, because that's critical to the recovery process. And again, all that parasympathetic relaxation response that's activated within the autonomic nervous system is going to be what initially promotes healing of the eye blood vessels and the vasculature around the eye. So, very, very important. In 20 years, we figured out that there are 3 top factors that steal your sight, that can be accelerating your vision loss, that need to be managed. The first is blood flow, or poor circulation. The second is inflammation. And the third is oxidative stress. We're going to talk about all of these. Very, very important. These are top 3 things. So the primary objective for us to preserve your vision, again, is to improve that blood flow. Make sure we got good blood flow going to the eyes. That's not the only thing, but it's very important. We want to stimulate the retinal and optic nerve cells, right? Get those nerve cells working, and the visual cortex. Get that whole visual system working. We want to decrease inflammation if that's present. There are a lot of ways to know that there's inflammation. One is redness, swelling. Also, the big key for me is photophobia, light sensitivity. If you got too much light coming in, it's like, kind of like if any of you have ever had one too many drinks or didn't get a good night's sleep, you wake up the next day, you're just like, sunglasses, please. It's the brain is inflamed and there's inflammation going on in the central nervous system. So we need to address that and find out what the cause is. So inflammation is kind of a middleman. It's kind of an effect too. So we have the eyes, we have the inflammation, but what's behind the inflammation? What's causing it? Is it inflammation, infection, autoimmune? Is it heavy metal toxicity? Is it dehydration? Is it stress? Is it diet? What's driving the inflammation? That's where the research has to be done. The research into your case specifically. It's our detective work. We have to regulate oxidative stress. Everybody know what free radicals, oxidative stress, you guys have heard that term, antioxidants. Okay, we're going to go over that and what that is. Very important for you guys to understand. And then identify any other causative factors. That's why we give you guys these sheets to fill out, these health history questionnaires. And, you guys are like, why are you asking me about my bowel movements? Why are you asking me about, my dizziness? Or why are you asking me about if I get shortens of breath? Or why are you asking me about my anxiety? Because that's relevant to your health, and it's going to give us indicators about what's going on systemically. And if there are any other of those factors that could be related to any other coexisting factors that are going to accelerate your vision. Inflammation affecting your vision. Again, so inflammation can come from infections, autoimmune, allergies, toxicity, heavy metals, emotional stress, also mental stress, which is overworking, poor diet, metabolic issues, again like diabetes or other systemic internal metabolic issues, medications, and dehydration. There are others, but these are the main ones. Alcohol, excessive alcohol consumption can do that. Okay? Blood flow. Talked about this. We need good food, right? No oxygen, no food, no worky. Right? Brain shuts down, heart shuts down. You can't breathe, we're in trouble. Stop eating and drinking, we're in trouble. So we want to deliver oxygen to the eyes, to the brain, to the whole body. Deliver nutrients and remove carbon dioxide and metabolic waste. Now, interestingly, I'm going to take a little side note here, is regarding blood flow and inflammation. The 2 biggest things that I hear from patients about things that they actively control, or in some cases don't control, that affect their vision are this. 1, exercise. Why? Increases blood flow. Systemic peripheral blood flow. When I'm moving my body, I'm moving my blood and getting more oxygen and food. Across the board, the majority of my eye patients say when I exercise, my vision is better. When I stop, it gets worse. I have not had any consistencies. That is one of 2 consistencies that I've had reported to me. So take it seriously. You got to go just move your body. Yoga, Tai Chi, stretching, something. The second thing is stress, or the perception of stress. My vision gets worse when I'm stressed out, and when I'm relaxed, it gets better. Why? Stress causes vasoconstriction. Blood vessels squeeze and reduces blood flow, especially to the head. Get stressed out. Reduce blood flow. Neck and shoulders get tight, right? I'm getting that blood flow up to my neck and up to my head. Let's talk about oxidative stress. Free radicals attack your body and damage your DNA. Okay, there's things called free radicals. Think of them like terrorists. They're just coming into your body and they're just destroying your healthy tissue for no reason. That's what they do. There's no agenda, there's nothing. If they're there, they're going to start destroying your cells. They will destroy the DNA, the cells, the tissues, the organs, causing a process called oxidative stress. That means the free radicals, when they're working and destroying, they're creating more garbage or waste product, okay, in the body. The cumulative damage from these free radicals destroying everything causes accelerated aging, and that can be seen. We're going to talk about how that can be seen. So just note here, free radicals attack your body and damage your DNA. That causes, the oxidative stress can cause gene signaling for a lot of these conditions. It can be a factor that when your oxidation levels go, vision's okay, or other autoimmune things or other conditions, oxidative stress can be a factor. We use the term, we had genetic and epigenetic. So this would be an epigenetic factor. Carotenoid antioxidants protect your eye nerve cells against oxidative stress and cell damage. Okay, so I went through years of checking different type of antioxidants. We had patients on glutathione. Because that's like the number one super antioxidant, MSM, SOD, all these different things. So the most research, what everybody recommends for eyes, whether some's controversial, some yes, some no, but across the board, what do we see that our doctors will usually recommend? And where's the most research on? Vitamin A, lutein, zeaxanthin, leafy greens. That's consensus. Most eye doctors will agree that it is at least not a bad idea to incorporate those into your diet. There are volumes of research on lutein, zeaxanthin, vitamin A, all the carotenoids. So here's the thing. We're starting to connect the dots now, okay? It was just like, take leafy greens, they didn't really understand the mechanism of why those were benefiting, but now we know the common factor in all those is they're all high in carotenoid antioxidants. Even the Chinese herbs that we didn't know, like, why are we using? There's a Chinese herb called gochidza, Chinese wolfberry or lychee berries. That's the herb for vision. It's like, you got vision problems, it's in most of the formulas, like this is what you take when you have vision problems. Why? It is so high in carotenoid antioxidants, it's insane. So we use that. So great, so we figured antioxidants, about 2 years ago we kind of connected the dots and we found that carotenoid antioxidants are the thing to help protect your eyes from this oxidative stress. So I wanted to learn more about it, learn more about carotenoid antioxidants. So we did, and we wanted to start testing patients, all right? So we said, okay, let's try to find a lab that'll do blood tests to check the blood volume and saturation of carotenoid antioxidants. Turned out to be $500 a pop. So it was, had a couple sticking points, no pun intended. But so that didn't work out too well. Then there was, about 2 years ago, they came out with a retinal scanner that scans your macula for carotenoid antioxidants, which was pretty cool, but it had an enormously huge price tag to it too. And there's a lot of research, very accurate, but I kept looking for other ways to assess that. And finally we came down to what we're using now is the S3 skin carotenoid testing. Okay? That's what you guys are doing. What we do is we put our hands on, and that reads our carotenoid levels. Now, how the heck are you going to read my eye levels of carotenoids through my hand? Like, come on. That's what I said. Like, when I first got into this, I was like, I got to check carotenoids, but I'm not dealing with people's skin. I'm dealing with their eyes. So I went through my own education process to find out more and connect the dots, and here's what we came up with. We came up with this concept. Carotenoid antioxidants' primary purpose is to protect the body from UV radiation. Okay, let's use that as our premise. Carotenoid antioxidants primarily protect our body from UV radiation. Where on our bodies do we usually need the most protection from UV radiation? Eyes, right? Where our sunglasses. Where else? Skin, right? So when we eat a carotenoid antioxidant or a food that has high levels of or any carotenoid antioxidants, it's going to saturate the two areas that need it most as a priority. That is the skin and the retina. Okay? So that was great in theory. So some smarty pantses who had some funding actually tested this, and they checked the serum levels to the skin levels to the skin retina levels, and they were all comparable. Not exact because it's never going to be exact, but all with reasonably same levels. So that told us is the retina levels, the skin levels are going to equally reflect each other to a reasonable degree. Okay? So if our skin carotenoid antioxidants are low, they're going to be low in our eye. Okay? If our skin carotenoid levels are pretty good, the potential will be there to our eyes if what exists. Good blood flow. You could have the best you could be off the charts with your carotenoid antioxidants. If you don't have good blood flow to your eyes, are they going to get there? No. So all the stuff we talked about are independent. So I'm kind of circling back a little bit because we want to keep in mind this is not a linear thing. Everything's kind of working together. So here's what we do. We have a grading system when we check you guys. We have A, which is about 60,000. That's where we want, 60,000 plus, all the way down to about 10,000 or less, which is a big fat F in school. And when I tell my type A's or my scholarly people that they have a failing grade or a D, you bet your butt they're trying to improve that grade, but that's why we use it. So both are good. In 1 second. So A means that you're where you need to be. You have your insurance policy set. You're getting the antioxidant protection. If you're low, that's awesome too. Why? Because we discovered a weakness. We know that you need to increase. Why do you need to increase? For 3 reasons. A, you're not taking antioxidant supplements. B, the ones you're taking aren't breaking down or working for you. C, you're using more than your body is getting in. Okay? So your body's using up more than you're putting in, so it can't keep up with the demand. Question?
What was the number on the good side, the A?
60,000 plus.
Thank you.
So we want to see, if I see 50s or 60s, I'm happy. Even high 40s are good. When I see like 10, 20 or in the teens, and this won't change overnight. This takes about 4 to 6 months to see an improvement because it's a slow saturation of fat-soluble nutrients into the skin and into the eyes. It's not an overnight process. So, I didn't take my vitamins today. Is it going to reflect it? Nope. And what happens when you take too much vitamin A or too much carotenoid antioxidants? What are the symptoms of taking too much? Anybody see anybody who's taking like way too? You drink like a gallon a day of carrot juice. What's going to happen? Your skin turns orange because it saturates in your skin. Right? So that's overdoing it. Now, question that everybody asks is, okay, if I take this vitamin A and all this stuff, is it going to cause liver damage?
Right.
Big question. I have never seen a case. I check blood work in all my eye patients. I've seen the majority of them. There's 1 or 2 I miss, like Europe or wherever, that they can't get blood work. But I check the majority of my eye patients, and if they're ever concerned, I'm absolutely going to check, especially the liver enzymes. Why? because we have them on supplements that have been flagged to possibly cause, concern or stress on the liver. So, we check them. I've seen one case with elevated enzymes and the person had pre-existing liver cirrhosis, which means the liver's already scarred up. I have never, ever, ever seen elevated liver enzymes from patients taking these supplements. Is it possible? Yes. Would I look at somebody's blood work who already has elevated enzymes, try to clean up the health of that liver, maybe before I start them on supplements? Sure. There's ways to help the body work through the fat-soluble nutrients. There are some cases where, you got about 2% of people, especially with RP and Stargardt's, whose vision may actually be negatively impacted by taking things like beta-carotene, retinal palmitate, because one of their issues is fat metabolism, and it can accumulate in the eye and not break down, and then you get some toxicity issues. So I understand that concern, but I have not seen that clinically. I have not seen that result. I have not seen increase, but it's possible. I would not take them because of concern with liver unless you have a pre-existing liver condition. So I just wanted to talk about that. Now, real quick, how do antioxidants work? Okay, so use an analogy of an apple. What happens when you cut an apple, a pear, or a piece of fruit or banana in half? Let it sit for a half hour, what happens? Turns brown. Why? Because there's fructose. Fructose is a sugar that's highly unstable and oxidizes very fast. The effect is we see it turn brown, right? So if we're making a fruit salad for company the next day, what do we do to keep it from turning brown?
Cold.
Cold and lemon juice. Correct. So when you squeeze some lemon juice on it, we put it in the fridge. That slows down the oxidative process, and vitamin C, lemon juice, is not a carotenoid antioxidant, but it does have antioxidant. Apple turns brown because the fructose sugars oxidize fast. So we use lemon juice on top of the fruit to slow down the oxidative process, right? It creates a barrier and protects the cells. So just like the lemon juice protects the apple from turning brown, this would be like our eye, or the brain too, to some degree, that does not have the protection. So our eyes have carotenoid antioxidant protection. We're not going to oxidize, just like the apple has vitamin C protection. Is that clear? You guys get that? So basically, in short, we need carotenoid antioxidants to slow down, at least slow down, if not completely arrest, the progressive oxidative process that can happen to our eyes and to our body. And so based on that, where else can you see that? So if you're like, man, I want, even if I don't have all this diagnostic testing that I can use, by visually inspecting people, I can look at them and see they might be oxidizing or fast oxidizers. Skin starts to get, like people who smoke a lot, skin starts to get wrinkly. People spend a lot of time in the sun, too much time in the sun, like sun worshiping. Slather on some baby oil and the reflectors. Your skin ages faster, right? So we want to look at that. People have like a lot of wrinkles, a lot of moles, skin tags. Those are age spots. Those are all prematurely. That's oxidative stress. So we want to look at that. So if I don't have my carotenoid skin testing, but I look at somebody, I'm going to look for other indications of oxidative stress in the body. So fast aging. Do they look older than they usually are? Health issues that a 40-year-old or 30-year-old shouldn't have, maybe a 60 or 70-year-old should have. If they're showing up that early, I'm going to suspect maybe that's an issue. Okay. So stress and vision. Again, we want to get back to, when we're dealing with stress, we want to go back to how do we feel about what's going on. We looked at the facts. Sorry about the spelling issue up there. That needs to be corrected. How do we feel about what's going on based on the facts and based on what we're doing? Okay? Acute and prolonged stress, whether it has to do with your vision or anything else, can impact your vision. You have biochemical changes, you have neurological changes, you have energetic changes that will either accelerate or prevent your eyes from being stable in your vision. So again, the process that we want to look towards is to move the body out of stress and into relaxation recovery. I don't care how people do that. It doesn't mean you have to go up to, the Himalayas for 10 years and, chant. If you want to, great. You don't have to. You want to go up to an ashram or something? Great. You want to get lost somewhere in Mexico and, hop on a Harley and do that? Great. You don't have to. Hobbies, dancing, painting, reading, music, hanging out with friends, pets, whatever you lose time, when you lose time and you lose space, I don't know where I am and I don't know that time is moving forward. Those are the types of things we need in our lives, because stress, let's back up for a minute. Stress is created, we can put specifics around it, but in general, stress is created by time constraints and space constraints. Right? I can't breathe. I'm overwhelmed. I have so much going on around me. I can't even deal. It's overwhelmed. Space comes in. I don't have space to move around. And time constraints. You got to do this by then or else X. So in order to relax or shift out of sympathetic, we have to get rid of the time pressure, whatever it is, even for just a little bit. And we need to create space. That's what meditation does. But guess what? So do the art forms, so does painting, so does gardening. There are positive ways to get out of sympathetic stress, and there are negative ways. What are some not so healthy ways to get out of sympathetic stress that we use? There are a couple coping mechanisms that help us pull out of stress. Alcohol, drugs, smoking, food, junk food, yelling at people, going to our family members. We always take the brunt of it. Doing things, obsessing in the gym. Sometimes you call that sedation. Like you're sedating yourself, you're pilling yourself out, but exercising, painting, doing stuff that are productive are going to empower you and give you energy. That's how I think of it. The next day or hours later, are you more energized or less energized? Is your capacity increased? When I'm stressed out and I draw or I paint a painting or create something or write something down, or am I bigger, better, and clearer having done that to expand myself and open myself up? Or have I contracted myself with drugs, alcohol, food, abuse, something that's not productive for me? So at the end of that stress management strategy, we'll call it, which is a positive or a negative, which is relative, but a positive would be making you feel better. Negative, you feel crappier. So a hangover is crappier. Agree? Binge eating is going to make you feel crappier. Smoking is going to make you feel crappier. Fighting with people, had a bad day, just cutting loose on the gas guy. That's effective. You're just getting rid of your stuff. That's not productive. You're going to feel horrible. Most people. If you're a reasonable person, you're going to feel pretty bad about that the next day. But that's a negative way to direct your energy and your stress. You want to look at positive ways. So just look at that. Again, we just want to take fact inventory. What do I do to manage stress? Positives, negatives. How can I reduce negatives and do more positive? And it's not about, like a lot of people I have to stop eating, I have to stop yelling at people, I have to stop drinking. Don't do that yet. Focus on adding more good stuff, and then you won't have enough time or energy to deal with the negative or the draining practices that you're doing. So that's what I tell people. Don't worry about cutting things out. Let's start adding more positive things. Get back to dancing. Get back to gardening. Get back to talking to your friends that you were. Get back to reading or audiobooks or something like that. Or go to church or temple or pray or meditate. Whatever works for you. Just make it your priority. Get the heck out of that stress response. And stay in power. And that means controlling people around you too. No. gossiping, talking, stressing me out? No. No. I'm sorry. No. Not going there. No. How dare you picking a fight with me? No. Not doing it. Sorry. I knew you want to fight. I knew you got a thing going on. Not going there. CYA. You know, I got to take care of me first. So learning to manage stress can save your sight. Right? Stress will, according to my patients, this is not me. These are my patients, my hundreds and thousands of patients telling me that stress makes your vision worse. It's going to take your vision away. And I know that because of the feedback I've got from patients, right? I'll give you two scenarios. One is real patients. I got a guy down in Louisiana, lower economic guy, real sweetheart of a guy. Not much of a care in the world. Just lives real simple life and everything like that. Easygoing. Came up about 3-4 years ago for treatment. He was kind of moderate stage, kind of stable. We helped him. We got some vision back, and he was great. Just a sweet guy. I hadn't seen him. I got an email like 2 years later from him. Hey doc, how's it going? Just checking in. Wanted to say hi. You were on my mind. You know, just something reminded me of you. Oh my God, where you been? What's going on? How's everything? Eyes are great. I'm so happy. I got so much improvement. Hasn't gotten any worse or ever. Still taking my vitamins. Still doing my stuff. I'm eating a little too much fried stuff, and just real easy. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I'm gonna try to get up in a couple, year or so when gotta get some money and stuff like that. Then no change. All positive, everything like that. Then I get another patient who's comes down from Boston, and I've seen him periodically, and he's like, I take all the herbs, I come for acupuncture, I do the exercises, why is my vision still going bad? I need some stress. I've got to deal with some stress management. So you can do everything you're supposed to do, but if you're like a type A stress maniac, which some people are, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if you want to help your vision, that's something we really need to manage. You are who you are. People aren't going to change, but knowing that those stress episodes and those surges and flare-ups are going to impact your vision, let's try to manage that a little bit. So that's real. So we have the facts, how we feel about it. Now what's the focus? How's this relevant? All right, let's kind of target this. What do I want? Now we start asking questions, right? The best action, and this is like anybody I've studied philosophically, whether it's Einstein or Lao Tzu or any of the great scholars, they all share a very similar doctrine, and that is if you want better results in your life, ask better questions. Ask questions, and not just questions, but the quality of our questions are going to expand our mind into what's possible. So a question like, why isn't there anything for my vision? Why isn't there anything out there? Not that. What is out there that possibly could help me improve and or stabilize my vision? 2 questions. Similar, but the quality is, day and night. The quality of, why can't I find anything? Why isn't there anything that's going to help my eyes? To, what could there possibly be out there that I could find use and value in terms of helping me preserve and recover some vision? Totally different concepts. So what do I want short term? Usually that's vision recovery. Try to get back whatever I can. Right? Or in a lot of cases, I have patients come in, they've been putting along, and something happened, they got sick, or something happened in their lives, stress, illness, and their vision's tanking. So our goal is, we got to put the brakes on. I got to throw the anchor out. We have to just arrest that snowball and that inertia. Their vision is falling off the cliff. So for that, our short-term goal is to either recover or just stop that snowball effect where people are losing their vision, which isn't often. I see a couple of those a year. So then what do I want long-term for my vision? Stability and preservation, right? we're going to have good days and bad days. That's a given. But I want to keep it within a range. I want it relatively stable. That's reasonable. What do I want for me? And not just my vision, but what do I want? Do I want, we're going back to our whys again. Do I want independence? Do I want to be productive? Do I want to have connections to my kids and my wives and my grandkids and my whoever? Like, what's your reason? What do I want for me? And what do I want for my loved ones and my family? You know, a lot of people talk about what we don't want. I don't want to be a burden to them. I don't want to have to do everything for me. I don't want this. I don't want that. What do you want? I want to be a productive member. I want to be welcomed. I don't want to be rejected. I want to be accepted. These are things that I want. I want to figure out. I know maybe I can't do what I was doing, but given the situation, I want to find out what I can do and how I can offer to myself, to my family, to my community, you know, on whatever level that is. So those are asking questions about what we want. And what we want is, I'm finding, even for me, it's over the years of doing a lot of this work, it's a tough question to ask sometimes, to get clear about what you want. You know, we're very easy to talk about what we don't want. And sometimes it's the opposite, sometimes it's not. So just ponder that. We live and we do the work. All right? So again, I'm going to recap. What you guys did is you started learning about this. You learned that there's a new possibility, a new thing that might be able to help you when you were told there isn't. So then we live it. Right? We start taking supplements, we try acupuncture, we change our lifestyles a little bit to do things based on what we've learned that we want to implement to start getting results. Right? That's living it. Now you have experience. I had experience, and this is the result I got. There's short-term experience, if this is new to you, and then I have patients who've been here 15 years that I've been working with who have a long-term experience. Different experience, nothing's better and worse, it's just how long you've been at work, you know what I mean? How long you've been working on this. So I, as your doctor, I provide the guidelines and the recommendations, all right? But I can't do the work for you. I can encourage you, I can play with you guys, I can tease you, I can check in on you, but you guys, based on the why and the purpose and you know all that stuff we talked about earlier, you got to do the work. And the work is what you're doing every day to help keep your vision where it needs to be. You learn and get educated, but that's not enough. We must implement and live this, all right? And it kind of, not like this big thing, it just means that every day you have to commit to do something. I don't care if it's take a supplement, do eye exercises, stretch, something. Something in the name of helping your vision. It wants to be top of mind. So theory with that application has no impact. You can read a book. You know, a lot of people checked out my websites, looked at my books, heard stories about people, maybe their eyes, but they just got the information, but that's just theory. Because they didn't try it, they didn't do anything about it, which is fine. It just means that information, you can't make an assessment or an evaluation. You can, but it's just on theory, it's not on your experience. And that goes pretty much for all of life. So the results you get will be in direct proportion to your willingness to do the work, right? And initially, it's doing it on faith. Because you don't really know what the outcome is. We're still kind of like hoping, and we just kind of have to go with, okay, well, this has worked for a lot of people. It sounds right. I have nothing else. This is my why. This is I want to do this, and this is what I'm going to do. So you commit to making it whatever that is for you. Some people are going to take a lot more on. Some people are going to take less on. So the results depend on regular acupuncture treatment, taking supplements, things like diet and exercise, adequate rest and sleep, stress management, and managing any other coexisting health conditions that are going on. So we're changing blind. That's the purpose. That's my purpose. And again, it's not to connect and get everybody on this planet into acupuncture, whether it's me or anybody else. It's not the mission. The goal is that we have a population of people who are diagnosed with these diseases, all right? or you have an episode, you have retinal detachment. You lost your vision, you're losing your vision, you lost some vision, there's something going on with your vision. In that population, you have a percent of people who want to do something, and that's unacceptable, and then you have a percent of people who are fine with whatever they're told. The people who are fine with whatever they're told and they're okay with that, and that's just, again, great, awesome. That's what you want to do. I respect that, I appreciate that, and I honor that, totally. I had a patient 2 years ago come in who had a conversation with me. She's strong-minded woman, and she said, look, I know you're a doctor, I know you're kind of low profile, you don't do a lot of marketing, and it was great, you got in the research study, but I kind of just found out about you, and I've been wanting to do something for 10 years. And I came here, I found out about you 6 months ago, this is 2 years ago, and now I'm here after doing my research. This worked for me, and I have a kid who has RP, and it worked for them. Kid vision wasn't too bad. Mom's vision was pretty bad. She's like, you got to get this stuff out. She's like, it's not for you, like just for these people. I don't care how you send them to people. Like, people need to know that there's options. That I could have saved, I don't know how much vision I could have saved, but I probably could have saved a lot of vision. I'm pretty advanced right now, and I'm okay with that because I've matured. But if I would have known about you 10 years ago, or this, I would have been here 10 years ago. And the fact that I didn't pisses me off. She was mad. And she had every reason and every right to be mad. She's like, I'm not mad at you, I'm not mad at my dad, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just upset that there is this information that exists and these management strategies and these treatments that exist that the majority of people don't know about. And I was like, you're right. We got to level up, start getting this stuff out there. So that's, kind of where we're at. We're that's why we're, doing these videos and the research and the books and everything like that, and get people. So I want you guys to think about what you're taking away, like from a lot of the stuff we talked about. There's a lot of stuff, some of it, in your own heads probably hit pretty deep. Some of the emotional stuff, some of the conversations you may want to consider having with yourself, with your family members, with your close ones. But what things are you realizing?
Encouragement and the will to get back to the mainstream.
Yeah.
Basically, less of stress, eating the right food, and moving on in life.
Yeah.
And get a thick skin, basically.
You have to. You have to.
That is the most important.
You have to. You really have to, especially when you're dealing with this. Because when you take that leap, how many people are going to try to pull you right back?
Right. So if
you're doing that?
Oversensitive and...
sensitive, judgment, and that comes from the insecurity. Oh, what are they going to think? I don't want to deal with their... I don't want to deal with my...
Let them think.
Let them think.
I mean, that's the only way. Thick skin, and you can move on.
That's great. That's a great point.
I think every one of my friends did that. They tried to, well, who is he, and what do they know that the real doctors don't know?
Correct.
And I just had to push them all aside. They know I'm a holistic
that's
person, and I'm going for this.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Sit in my house and go blind?
Right.
People are very discouraging about this.
They are, and again, it comes from a belief system. The worldview says right now there is nothing for these conditions.
Because
that's the worldview.
Eye specialists don't believe in it.
Right.
Ophthalmologists, they don't believe.
It's a worldview.
So they say nothing is going to happen. You're going to waste so much of money going all that way.
Right, and that's an opinion not based on facts.
Yes.
That's an opinion based on theory, not direct experience.
But the
Now,
point is,
you
if
talk-
they go through it, only then they know about it.
Right, and they have only their experience. They can't know what your experience is. Your experience is going to be different. So we get a lot of people too, not a lot less than we used to. People are like, ooh, can I talk to somebody? Ooh, can I? I'm like, yes, you can, but their results are going to have no bearing on your results. Like, you want to know like that we exist, that we're actually here. You want to just comfort and talk to somebody, but don't expect their outcomes. And again, the worst thing that I have to talk to is I have patients who get these like insane results. Because they're the ones who want to go out shouting off the rooftops.
They want miracles, basically.
They were, oh my God, I got this crazy. The problem is they set up an expectation for everybody else. And some will, but some won't. and every case is different. So when people start talking, it can be good and it can be bad. You want to make sure it's productive and not destructive. And again, people who say don't let, they probably have what they think is your best interest in mind. They're probably trying to look out for you, but you can say, thanks, I appreciate that. I'll get back to you and let you know how it goes. So very important what Selma said. Strong mind, thick skin means that you have a clear clarity about what you want and where you want to go.
And you don't mind what people say.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna bang into doors, you're gonna bang into things, you're gonna talking to nobody in there.
Yeah.
There'll be nobody sitting there. But if you're just gonna mind what they're gonna say, why are you talking like this, why are you looking like this,
Yep.
you're gonna be sensitive and you'll kill your own self from
Right,
inside.
trying to look cool.
Yeah, we are not supposed
Just trying to look
do
cool.
that.
You're
Yeah,
trying,
this
you know,
is the way
I
we
don't want to
are.
look like a fool, so
So this is the way we are. We're talking to ghosts or whatever.
yeah,
But this is the way we are. They have to accept us the way we are.
correct.
So for that we need a thick skin.
Agree.
Not mind what people are saying, and the support is there, the friends, the family, everybody. But it has to come from inside. And your faith develops it. What has to come has to come. But the faith tells you to go for the best, to improve yourself.
Amen.
It doesn't say you stay where you close your doors. No, we cannot be pigeons.
Yeah.
We have to find the light, we have to move.
Gotta move.
I was gonna say, my biggest thing, like, I'm very, very thick-skinned about it. Like, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know what other people think, and that's just how I am about it. Well, what affects me the most after watching this is for sure stress.
Yeah.
And it's not stress like with the condition itself, but just stress about what's going around me. Like, there's days where I, probably work 16 hours straight, and it's like I know that's killing me.
Tax yourself.
You know, and it's just
You're overdoing.
yeah.
Well, that's gauging it. So you just that's facts. You know,
Right.
That's just it's like, okay, well, I have taken a logical, factual analysis of this, and I can do 10 hours. Anything more than that, so it's recognizing, and that's being
And that's
responsible
kind
and
of how it
accountable.
was. I was okay with it because I could work 16 hours straight and not have a problem with it. And I can sleep, maybe 15 hours a week in a
Yeah.
sense, and it doesn't bother me. I can still get up and keep going. And it's like I would always say, like, hey, I'm taking the vitamins, it's good enough.
Yeah,
But it's like it's kind of the reality. It's like, okay, maybe you have to give in to
it's
10
decades
hours,
too.
8 hours, you know.
You know, you're 22, so
Yeah,
it's all like,
for sure. I know.
you're 32, 42. You got a little wiggle room now. Every decade it starts to, but
Because
it's
after
true.
I work for a full day, at the end of the day I see two things.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't looking at Andy because
exhausted.
I was seeing Andy this big.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind too, to Selma's point, that when your vision is an issue, the amount of mental work that you have to do compared to somebody that doesn't have an eye issue is huge.
Yes.
You have to.
For sure.
You're so much more working. You're working, and it's like the analogy I give is like every day it's like learning how to drive a stick shift. Like you never get it. It's awkward. It's work, as opposed to like if you learn how to drive a stick shift, you don't even think about it. You're kind of going. But it's the same thing. You have to be more active and aware, and that uses up more glucose. That creates more inflammation.
You're fatigued.
Yeah, it taxes your system, so that's why people need naps or to relax and stuff like that. Very good point.
No, I agree with that completely. I mean, that's like one of the things that's like, I set things down all over the place. It's like my car keys, I'm the worst with them. I'll set them up. One day they'll be on my kitchen counter, the next day they'll be on my couch,
You have to
and
be
then the next day
more
they'll be in my
organized.
bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm so
I
bad
can
with
even close
organization.
your eyes and you can find where
Right,
it is
yeah.
supposed to
Just the
be.
force.
I spend hours in a day looking for stuff
Yeah.
all day long, and it's like
And
it's
that's
right there, and
waste
it's just
of
like
time.
I put it in the same spot every single
Yeah,
time.
it's
It'll make it so
systems.
much easier.
Just creating systems.
Organize
Yeah.
yourself.
That's one thing
You're a
I'm really bad
marketing
about.
person. You should organize.
Yeah,
The next thing we talk about too is sharing experiences. Okay, this is a private matter, as we talked about, for a lot of people. All right, it's a personal issue. Some people, depending on where you are, some people are still dealing with the shame, the guilt. I'm not ready to really talk. Fine. Most patients who hear about us have heard about us through somebody else. All right, somebody else has kind of told a story, or they recommended or something like that. So now you guys have some content, and we're gonna, there's more content. So people ask, people naturally, are you getting better? What kind of results do you get? How does it work? Do they put needles in your eyes?
That's the first
Everybody wants
question.
to know. Needles go in the eyes? No. So you have you can explain, yeah, well, it has a lot to do with inflammation and blood flow and oxidative stress, and the acupuncture increases the blood flow, and I take nutrients to feed my eyes, eye food, and to protect it against inflammation, oxidative stress. You can have a conversation around what it's actually doing. Before I started doing this, patients were going home and they're like, just put needles in my hands and feet, and I'm just seeing better. That's basically the understanding I had beyond removing qi and blood in this whole Chinese medical jargon. I was using a lot of that, and I didn't have much of a biomedical understanding of the mechanism that we're talking about. So I learned that to teach you guys that, so you guys are clear. You talk to your friends, your family, your doctors about it. Online groups, some of them are positive, some not so positive. You know, some are a little bit more misery seeks company, so be clear about that. Talk to your doctors. Everybody says, should I talk to my doctors? Should I talk to my eye doctor about my eye condition? My answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely. If they give you a hard time, find another doctor. But my doctor's the head of Columbia or Mass Eye and Ear, whatever. I get it. I really get it. But the top guy with things like RP and dry macular degeneration or Stargardt's is just as good as the bottom guy, because none of them are doing anything for you. They may be diagnostic or affiliated. They're all just testing, see in a year, maybe genetic testing, and giving the same recommendations. So it's different with surgery. So there's going to be different surgical precisions in that, or maybe a procedure that somebody does. But just by reputation, you know what I mean? Get somebody who's on your side, who's advocating for you. Whatever you're doing, great. As long as you're not hurting yourself, which acupuncture isn't. And why do I say this? Because I've had patients report back to me that their eye doctor has kicked them out of their practice for getting acupuncture and taking herbs. Absolutely. You didn't do what I say. Get out.
Yep.
I told you not to get acupuncture. Get out. Really? But my vision's better. I don't care. Get out. I'd rather you follow my directions than see improvement.
Absolutely.
Okay, well then I'm glad he told you to leave, because that's clearly not, he or her is not the right person for you.
Right.
All right? So we want an advocate. You want, obviously, a doctor who's gone through schooling and knows their stuff and is a specialist, but get somebody who's for you. Hey doc, I got acupuncture. I think it helped. Can you test my vision, see if we see improvement? Yeah. Oh, well, you know, we see some improvement, or things are stable. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I don't know anything about acupuncture. I really don't know, and sometimes I really don't even care. But I want what's best for you, and I can't offer you anything. So do what you think is best for you. And if you think this is working for you, do it. That's appropriate. That's appropriate. Neutral to positive is appropriate. You don't need anybody giving you a hard time, creating more stress for you. I want to hear about you. So what's your thought pattern, what we talked about before you came in? What were your concerns? What were your hang-ups? And how did you make your decision? And then you came, and then what results did you get? That's a story. You know, that matters.